Welcome everybody to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili and this is video 7 of 7 in my series of my 100 favorite artists or favorite albums by English artists. And this is the top 10. Okay, the final 10. So before I get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video, and if you still haven't, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for updates. Okay, so with that out of the way, here's the top 10 of my favorite 100 favorite albums from English artists. And if you could agree, disagree, or even put your top 10 in the comments section after viewing this. And I'm going to just get into this right now. So number 10 is Radiohead with the Bends, their second album. This is to me, the last album before they start really getting more kind of experimental and proggy. This is still a straight kind of forward rock album. There's some from Planet Telex to the Bends. I love Just My Iron Lung. Fake Plastic Trees is probably the song that most people would be recognizable to. However, this is, yes, just a great guitar-driven album. So number 10, Radiohead, the Bends. Coming in at number 9, we have the classic Pink Floyd album, Wish You Were Here. It was a fight between this and Animals. I do love Animals a lot, but sometimes you just get in different moods for whatever reason. And I do love the whole Shine On You Crazy Diamond epic song here that they did for Syd Barrett, and it's just so memorable. And of course, Welcome to the Machine, Wish You Were Here, the title track. I mean, everything on here, Have a Cigar, is from beginning to end, front to back, and that cover. You can't, resist that cover. So, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Okay, so number 8 is Oasis, Be Here Now. Okay, so this one is their third album, and it is pretty much an album that people kind of dismissed. Even the band dismissed. They look back at it as something that they did on drugs, and it's just a melodic mess. However, I mean, I felt like this album was a lot better than the previous album, What's the Story, Morning Glory, which shot them to superstardom. Songs like Do You Know What I Mean, Magic Pie. Yes, there are long songs on here all around the world, but they got some great rockers on here. It's Getting Better, Man. You know, Fade In, Fade Out. There's a good song right there. It has Johnny Depp on slide guitar. And it's just, to me, I thought it was just it was very ambitious. And, I think that, they were really, or Noel was really trying to make an album where he could be taken seriously and just not just make these little poppy tunes. And, you know, but at the end, I felt like it was, I give it an A for effort, and it was just like there's so many different moods on this album, and I like that. It seemed like he was on a creative peak, and it was a great double album. Oasis's Be Here Now. And speaking of creative peaks, my next one would be Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. This is my favorite album from them, hands down. From top to bottom, front and back. I mean, you got epic songs on here like Kashmir, Trampled Underfoot, 10 Years Gone. Yes, there's some long songs on here as well. It's a double album when it came out, and it's Led Zeppelin. Like, this is them to me as Hammer of the Gods. This is the album right here. And there's just like nothing else after this album that because after this album, it was Presence, and there's been like a lot of drug issues at that time with Presence, and John Bonham's alcoholism, and that album kind of suffered, and this was at the peak of their greatness. And even though a lot of these songs are from different sessions that they've had from previous albums, and they kind of saved it, but you know what, they put them all together and it was awesome, you know. Just, and they also have Ian Stewart on here from the Rolling Stones with Boogie with Stu, so you can't go wrong with that. So Led Zeppelin. Okay, and number 6 we have David Bowie's Hunky Dory. Now, I mentioned before, yes, my favorite album is Station to Station from him, but sometimes, like I was saying before, you catch me on a different day, it may be different. I did a video of Station to Station, and I love that album so much, so I felt like, well, maybe I just bring out another favorite album of his. So this one, it has Oh You Pretty Things on here, Life on Mars, the Andy Warhol, it's a good acoustic number, and of course Changes is on here. This is the beginning. This is sort of like the middle of the, you know, whole kind of Ziggy Stardust thing coming in. It's that band, and so I love this one. This is Hunky Dory. So now we're going into the top 5, and these are albums that I feel that are just perfection. And so never mind the Bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols. You know, this is, to me, the I guess the epitome, or this is the punk rock album that led the forefront, I felt, of that one and The Dam, but this one as well, because this band was just so out there, you know what I mean? And it seemed like you knew it wasn't gonna last, just from, you know, it was just a car crash waiting to happen, but you're just going along for the ride. And the songs are great. The songs are fucking perfect from beginning to end, and there was nothing like it. His Johnny Rotten singing on here, it's just, he was the anti-singer, and he would challenge you like, well, what's a person supposed to sound like? Who made up these rules? That's what I loved about Johnny Rotten, and he's still the same that way. He's always just calling people out, like, you know, everyone who just follows one way of thinking, and the Sex Pistols were forward thinking, even though it was I guess it was an idea from Malcolm McLaren, or, you know, he's the mastermind behind it, but I think you had to put together the right characters to move this kind of movement, and Johnny Rotten was the perfect frontman for this band, and Sid Vicious was the perfect kind of, well, he replaced Glenn Matlock, who, you know, the guitarist, but he was a perfect aesthetic as just, you know, the iconic look for the punk rock, which everyone would, you know, still try to mimic and try to, you know, have that look of of Sid Vicious. So there you go. Never mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. Number 4 is Volume 4, Black Sabbath. This album, again, probably was scrutinized a lot, and I did a video of them with the ranking of this one being number 1, of course, and of course there was some rebuttal and rebuking regarding this, because they felt some of them didn't like the changes, no pun intended, of this album. Of course, the piano ballad of Changes, and just the different direction they were going to. They just wanted more of the heavier stuff, but you know what? Black Sabbath were doing those things with the first 3 albums, and I think after that trilogy, you know, just like any artist, you know, forward thinking. I mean, this is a band that created a new sound that no one else had, and of course, with that in mind, they pretty much wanted to keep on moving forward on that. And Tony Iommi is not someone who I think would just kind of just sit and remain kind of just doing the same kind of formula, you know. And so this is a perfect example of that. Wheels of Confusion is great. Tomorrow's Dream, Supernaut is awesome, and Snowblind, this is the album where they, you know, just got really coked out and, you know, just made this album great. Great album, Volume 4, and that cover as well. That's one thing about this top 10 that I have. Like, all the covers are just like iconic, and this is the Sabbath. The one that I love is because I love this font and I love that cover with Ozzy. Okay, so Volume 4. Okay, the final three, the top three, of course, these are the ones where just these are just perfection. You know, there's no doubt about it, and that would be number 3, The Verve, Urban Hymns. This is, I felt like, Richard Ashcroft's finest moment as a songwriter. You know, this album has a very classic rock feel from the gate. You know, the string arrangements he puts on here for Lucky Man and these songs, of course, Bittersweet Symphony. But like some of the more melancholy songs, like The Drugs Don't Work and Lucky Man, they have that kind of Angie, Rolling Stone, 1973 Goathead Soup kind of feel. And it works, you know, and I did a video on their super deluxe edition of this album, Urban Hymns, and there's another vinyl on there of just another record of just outtakes, just songs that were recorded that didn't make this album, and those are all fucking great. And just for them to just condense it to put out a single release, yeah. If you ever get the chance, just listen to those other songs as well. They're just like, man, how do you pick these songs out of this batch, because they were all so awesome. And so, but they did pick the right one. So Urban Hymns, number 3, perfection right here. And number 2, you can't talk about English artists without bringing up the Stone Roses. This is the album, their first debut album, and it's just perfect from beginning to end, from I Want to Be Adorned to I Am the Resurrection. This guitar player, John Squire, just kind of just takes you through like his wicked ways of using the wah. I've never, you know, heard someone so rhythmic, and it's just so inspiring to hear that something came out, you know. And this is before all that Britpop stuff. These are the ones, this is the album that all those bands are just, you know, fawning over. Even Noel Gallagher, you know, and Liam, this is like fucking the Stone Roses' first album. And from She Bangs the Drums to what was the other song that was popular on here? Song For My Sugar Sponge Sister, that was one. But this is just, like I said, it's worthy of being number 2. Okay, that's all I got to say. Their second album, not so much, and that was the only one they did. But this first one, this was the one, the Stone Roses. If you haven't heard it, I suggest you go get it and listen to it, then you'll understand why. And number 1, of course, is the Rolling Stones, my favorite band. And so, of course, they were going to be at the top. But which one was it going to be? I did a ranking of all 30 of their albums. Exile on Main Street was number 1, because that is their best album, but this is my favorite album. And this one has Midnight Rambler, which is my favorite song. Let It Bleed, Gimme Shelter, You Got the Silver, that is one of my favorite Keith Richards songs, the ones he sings. Monkey Man, Live With Me, Can't Always Get What You Want. It was a great album closer. And this is a great closer for this series. Number 1, Let It Bleed, the Rolling Stones. Leave me a comment below. What are your thoughts on my final 10? Do you agree, disagree? Give me your top 10 of what should have been here. I'd like to hear what you guys think. And with that, I'll shut up and I'll see you guys on the next 100, maybe 100 American artists. What would that look like? Okay, so I'll let you guys go and I'll see you later. Bye.